Each story is a puzzle piece. Are you brave enough to put them all together? Comment "I'm in" if you're joining the journey, and follow before the path disappears. Episode 1: Death Games. The Soul's Prologue. I am no longer human. I am no longer Alex. I am a shadow, a weary sigh drifting in the night, a wandering ghost trapped inside the cold screen of Death Games, a game I never wanted to begin, but I played and I lost. You might think this is the story of a young man, too curious for his own good, falling into the darkness of the dark web and losing his life. But the truth is far more horrifying. I used to be ordinary, a twin, living in the real world, with dreams and ambitions. I loved technology. I loved exploring places no one dared to tread. The dark web, to me, was a mysterious maze. One freezing night, I stumbled upon a website called Death Games, a plain interface. No flashy colors, but with a deadly invitation: play or die. At first, it was only animated videos, like an adventure game. I thought it was a prank by some hacker, or a project by a group of artists trying to create a horror game. But minute by minute, second by second, the truth bled through, a truth soaked in blood and terror. I remember clearly the first time. The footage stopped being animated and turned into raw, real images of people being killed. Blood screams, faces twisted in horror. A scream cut through the screen, as if calling to me. A scream begging for help, for someone to pull them out of this nightmare. I panicked, tried to exit, but the browser window wouldn't allow it. I tried to shut down the computer, but it didn't respond. A blinking message appeared. You chose to play. You cannot leave. Then I saw my own face on the screen, watched, recorded in my own room. I didn't know who, or what, had me. Fear gripped me so tightly I could barely breathe. That night, I lost my life. Now, I am only a wandering soul, caught in the endless loop of Death Games. I tell this story to warn you. If one day you find that website, do not enter. Do not walk into the darkness I stepped into, where the game never ends and death waits behind every click. It all began by chance. I had always loved exploring new technology, the hidden corners of the internet no one dared to touch. The first time I heard of the dark web was through a tech forum article, a place filled with countless websites that cannot be found on Google, where illegal and disturbing activities happen in silence. Curious, I learned to access it through the Tor browser, knowing full well the dangers lurking there. And then I saw it, Death Games. A simple link, no ads, no images, only one line on the homepage: play our game, survive if you can. I thought it was just a horror text game or some gory videos. I had no idea it was the doorway to hell. Clicking the link, the interface loaded with classic cartoon graphics, small, odd characters. I thought it seemed fun, different, thrilling, but suddenly, the imagery changed. It was no longer animation. Human figures appeared. Blood spread across the floor. Screams of terror rang out, as if coming from the next room. I saw faces etched with pain and despair, victims of the game, killed by faceless monsters. Only the sounds of guns, knives, stabbing, and other horrifying noises filled the air. I shook, trying to exit, but there was no way. The keyboard was dead. The mouse refused to move. I was trapped. Then a message appeared. You are being watched. Do not struggle. The spiral of death. I wanted to run, but there was no door. The screen switched to my own camera, showing me in my room from the corner. A shadow stood right behind me. When I turned around, nothing. The feeling of being watched never left me again. Every time I looked at the screen, I saw myself being grabbed, thrown into brutal murder scenes. Threatening messages came, whispers and words I couldn't make out, long piercing screams that wouldn't end. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I only sat there, eyes wide, staring at the lifeless screen. The harder I tried to escape, the tighter the loop wound around me. One night a special video appeared, a video of me. It showed me lying still, eyes wide open like a dead man, unable to speak, unable to move. That video made me realize the truth. I had been pulled into a death game where the line between reality and illusion had vanished, and so I remained, locked, in a world between life and death. Horrifying images replayed endlessly. Screams echoed in my ears. I tried everything to reach the outside world. Audio recordings, lines of code, signals hidden inside the frozen screen. But who could hear me? Only me. And death games, a game that never ends. My soul wandered the labyrinth of data, trapped in a death loop controlled by an unseen entity I called the Green Eye Admin. I saw that symbol appear in the interface, an unblinking eye watching my every move, a power beyond human. I couldn't stop thinking about death games. There was something in it beyond violence or illusion. It was like an invisible web, pulling me deeper and deeper into darkness. Each night I played, I noticed details I couldn't explain. Faces in the videos weren't strangers. Some I had seen in news reports about missing persons, unsolved murders. They weren't just victims. They were part of a system, a chain of events the game recorded like some horrific archive. And me, I was simply the next name on the endless list. Worse still, it wasn't only recording victims, it was watching me. I realized I wasn't alone. A shadow was always there, tracking my every move, every breath. An invisible force was pulling the strings. I used all my tech knowledge, hacking, IP tracing, to find the death game's admin. But everything vanished into thin air. IP addresses masked, servers in untraceable locations. I sent desperate emails, messages, left clues for friends, for family. No one replied. Some nights, as I drifted into uneasy sleep, I heard screams inside my own head, the sound of someone being slowly killed, dragged into the dungeon of the game. My soul was being torn apart. Then, while trying to escape one last time, a private message appeared. You've gone too far. There is no turning back. Play until the end. I didn't know who sent it, only that the sender's symbol was a cold green eye, the green eye, whose meaning I had yet to understand. I began to realize the green. I was not just the admin's mark. It was a supernatural entity, a technological phantom, a predator hiding within the screen. The following days, I began to lose my grip on reality. Dark circles under my eyes, skin pale, memory fractured. I could no longer tell what was real and what was not. I saw myself in videos, attacked, locked in a pitch-black room with no way out. Each time I played, the game began from the start, an endless loop, a hell without escape. I realized death games wasn't a game, it was a trap, a snare for my soul. And I, Alex, am now part of it. I no longer control my body. I am stuck between two worlds, the living and the dead. I am a wandering ghost, imprisoned inside death games, a game of death without end. It is not entertainment. It is a choice between life and death. The interface opened a mission, a video, played a person tied to a rotting wooden chair in a dark room, screaming, begging for help. But on the screen, only one line appeared. Choose to save or let them die. I didn't know what to do. Save them, let them die. I clicked save, and the screen instantly shifted to a horrifying scene of bloodshed. The person on the chair was slowly strangled to death by a shadow. A blinking message. You chose wrong. The price is your life. In that instant, I felt a supernatural force flood into me. I shivered. It was like my heart was being crushed. I couldn't breathe. From then on, each level was a new trial. Sometimes deciding who lives, who dies. Sometimes a puzzle. Sometimes bizarre actions I was forced to perform via webcam. Every time I failed, screams filled my room, and my heartbeat pounded as if it would burst. I became lost, unable to tell reality from hallucination. My dreams turned vivid. I was chased, strangled, buried alive in the dark. Once, the game demanded I type a family member's name into the system. I hesitated, then typed my mother's name, immediately. A video appeared, a woman tied up, her cries echoing through the room. My mother's scream burned into my mind. I struggled to shut down the computer, but failed. My eyes stayed locked on the screen. I didn't know if she was truly there, or if it was only an illusion. But I could never erase that nightmare from my mind, and worse, the game wasn't just inside the screen. Once, I heard knocking on my door. I looked outside, no one. When I turned back, I saw items on my desk that I had never placed there. An old knife, a scorched photograph, a small box holding strange objects. Perhaps Death Games wasn't just a game. Perhaps it was slowly seeping into my real world. I had lost too much time, health, sanity. I had lost myself. You might think I'm hallucinating or insane, but no, I know I am not alone. Death Games is the gateway to a dark force, a being with the symbol of the green eye, the one behind it all, the one hunting my soul, the endless loop, the soul's last words. I fought against the darkness, against the game, against myself, but Death Games never let me go. Every time I thought I'd reached the end, the game restarted an endless nightmare loop. I was trapped in a labyrinth of data, horrific images replaying again and again. Each time I played, I was torn apart by terror, ripped between life and death. I was no longer human, only a lost soul in a machine built for crime. Once, I noticed something strange. The green eye symbol didn't just appear on the screen. It was burned into photos, hidden in videos from my webcam, and even inside my worst nightmares. I felt watched by something not of this world, an eye always staring, waiting to drag my soul into the abyss. Before I fade completely, I leave you this warning. If you are reading these words, it means I have failed. But you don't have to. Do not seek Death Games. Do not let the green eye see you. Do not step into the death loop. One more thing, I am not the only victim. I know that in the darkness, many like me remain souls trapped in this web. I've seen them in fragments of data, short video clips, threatening messages. All of them shared one mark, the green eye, an invisible admin, a horrifying entity behind it all. I am only a small piece in this death game. Perhaps Death Games is just one part of a bigger plan, a nightmare loop with no escape. If you see that symbol on your screen, know this: you are being watched. You are already playing, without even knowing. I, Alex, a soul trapped in Death Games, send this plea to you: stop, before it is too late. Before vanishing completely, Alex saw a strange string appear on the screen. M4T3, X4N, #3T_0. It may be the final clue, a cryptic code tied to the green eye and the yet unseen network of evil. Episode 2, Exploring the Dark Web in High School. The door to darkness. I am Mia, a lost ghost in the digital world. I was once a 17-year-old girl, hungry for attention, curious, reckless, the traits of youth. But that curiosity pulled me and my friends into the deepest shadows of the dark web. I still remember the day we found it, a list of links leading to services on the dark web. Strange words: hitman for hire, hacker, selling information, drugs, all neatly arranged in a list we quickly downloaded. At first we thought it was a joke. We were high school students. We couldn't believe such a dangerous underground world existed right under our noses. We started small, buying simple hacking tools, hiring hackers to prank classmates. Everything went smoothly until we hired a hitman. One night, I received a message from an account with a blue eye icon. Later, I would learn it wasn't just a logo. It was a mark, a sign that someone was watching our every move. The message was short, cold: stop. If you don't want to lose everything. We didn't believe it. We thought it was an empty threat, a mind game to scare strangers. But it didn't stop there. The next day one of us disappeared without a trace. The day after another was attacked, then another vanished. I started to feel it. Something was wrong. Darkness wasn't just on the internet. It had stepped into our real lives. The darkness behind the blue eye, we began to realize. The blue eye wasn't just on the screen. It was watching every breath, every thought. Messages came, calls from unknown numbers. Nan-stop. Once I turned on my laptop. The screen lit up on its own. A green eye appeared, cold, empty. I felt it watching me, not just through the computer, but lurking in the shadows of my room, waiting to take me. That feeling haunted me, day and night. We lost our sense of direction. Close friends started pulling away, or vanishing. Panic spread. But no one dared speak, because any one of us could be next. One night, a new message came from the blue eye. You can't escape. Play until the end, or disappear forever. I tried to reply. Who's doing this? Why us? The answer came. We know you. We always know. Then it got worse. A mysterious hacker began attacking our school's network. Private files, personal chats, all leaked online. Chaos erupted. We realized this dark web group could access anything, control the digital world we thought was safe. What began as a game was now a spiral of crime we couldn't escape. I still remember the despair that night, sitting alone in the dark, afraid to open the door, afraid to answer the phone. I had become prey in the world of the blue eye, a predator I could not avoid. I didn't know if anyone could save me or my friends. The breaking of the group, we had once been close, sharing everything, but the darkness of the blue eye tore us apart. Day by day, trust faded. Some grew suspicious, others panicked. Every late-night call, every strange message stabbed at our safety. One evening during a secret meeting, the doors slammed hard. We scattered. Some left the game forever. Not long after, my best friend Ethan vanished. He left his phone on, a chat still open. The last message, I can't run anymore. They're coming. I followed the clues, found he had been watched through his home's security cameras. The images haunting, horrific, sent to me in an anonymous email, signed with the blue eye. I knew then, this wasn't a game anymore. It was a real hunt, a death match. We couldn't win. Loneliness and despair closed in. I often saw shadows outside my window, heard faint sighs in the night, like voices of the dead. I didn't want to believe I'd be next, but there was no way out. One night, I received a message with a video, a friend tied up, in a dark room, lights flickering, face full of fear. The message, play until the end, or lose everything. I knew then, the game was no longer online. It had entered our real lives, and nothing could stop it. The final warning, I don't know how much longer I can survive. Each day, the pressure grows, the threat of the blue eye, watching my every step, every breath. I tried to reach out, family, police, anyone who could help. But whenever I mentioned the dark web or the blue eye, the call cut out, or I got a cold, empty reply, like someone was controlling every word. I couldn't trust anyone, not even those closest to me. I started recording everything, saving every threat, every strange video, and I decided to tell my story, a warning for anyone listening. One night, as I was about to send my final recording, a pounding at the door, violent. I couldn't run. The door burst open. Darkness rushed in. I blacked out, dragged into a chaotic world where reality and illusion merged. Now, I am a ghost, trapped in the digital world, where the blue eye still follows my every step, where my friends have all vanished without a trace. I tell this story not to frighten you, but to let you know, the dark web is not just mysterious, it is a deadly maze, a web that traps curious, innocent souls. Before I disappeared completely, I saw one last code, sent from the Blue Eye account, D3THCOD3# R3V34L. Another code. I don't know what it means, but I know this story isn't over. A greater force, a cycle of crime, waiting to be revealed. Episode 3. Ordering Your Own Death. Curiosity Worth a Life. A.M. Lana. I am no longer human. Now, I am only a lost soul, drifting in the darkness of a deadly network called the Dark Web. It all began on a lonely night, when I wanted to forget the pain and the pressure of life. With a strange drug. I was a 19-year-old girl. I had dreams, plans, but everything changed. After I touched something I did not understand, I learned about the Dark Web from an old friend. She said you could find anything there. Drugs, weapons, even things so horrible that no one dared to mention them. I tried it for the first time. I bought a small amount of hallucinogens. Everything happened quickly. The package arrived in a few days, but my curiosity did not stop there. One night, while high, I stumbled upon another website, a hitman for hire service. The site was cold, dry. Only a few simple lines. Who do you want to disappear? Just fill in the name, address, and payment. I thought it was a joke, a dark game I should not get involved in. But then, in a chaotic drug haze, I entered my own name. I do not remember. Why? I do not know why. The nightmare begins after I accidentally placed an order for my own death. Things became strange, scarier than ever. The next day, I received strange messages from an unknown number, along with photos taken from my webcam, the most private moments, and I had no idea how long I had been watched. The message contained only a few words. "We are coming." I panicked. I tried calling my friends and family, but no one picked up. I felt completely isolated. Every time I stepped outside, I felt someone was watching, hidden in the dark. I wanted to run, forget everything, but what I had triggered would not allow it. In the chaos, I tried to access the Hitman site to cancel the order, but the site had vanished. No trace left. I searched for any clue, but only found thicker layers of mystery. Then, I received a handwritten letter. Inside was a photo from my webcam, with a cold message: "You cannot escape." I realized I had become prey in a real death game. I began to lose sleep. Dark circles under my eyes. My body wasted away. My dreams repeated the same image. A shadowy figure quietly stepping into my room, not saying a word, but freezing me in terror. I did not know who to ask for help, and in that darkness, my soul slowly left my body. Facing the darkness, my nightmare was no longer just in dreams or in threatening messages. It began to seep into daily life. Everywhere, every moment. I felt the presence of a stranger watching. One night, while I was alone at home, hearing the wind whistle through the door crack, I saw a figure standing silently in the yard, face hidden in the dark, unrecognizably. I tried to knock on the door to shout, but the figure vanished like an illusion. After that, I kept receiving photos of me taken from hidden corners, videos recorded when I was unaware. I called the police, but no one believed me. "You are just hallucinating," they said. But I knew the truth. I had ordered my own death, and now it was chasing me step by step. Then one night, while I was hiding in a dark room, I received a video call. On the screen appeared a man, cold eyes, a mysterious smile. He said nothing, only stared at me in silence. I realized he was the stalker, the hitman who had accepted my order. I did not know why, but I felt absolute fear and absolute loneliness. The call ended, and I knew my time was running out. My soul felt like it was being pulled into an abyss, unable to escape. I was trapped in the snare I had set for myself. The final plea for help. I knew I was closer to death than ever, but I also knew this death would not be the end. It would be the beginning of another journey, darker, endless, before I vanished completely. I wrote down this story, a warning for anyone curious about stepping into the dark web. If you ever think about buying, hiring a killer, or touching something that does not belong to this world, stop. Because once you cross that door, you will never return as before. In my final moments, I received an encrypted message from the account Blue Eyes, the symbol that had appeared in every previous episode. The message contained a strange code: NOR3TURN_4LL_RO4D 5_L34D_H3R3I. Did not fully understand its meaning, but my instincts told me this was part of a terrifying loop, a force controlling everything: death games, disappearances, and the criminal network behind the dark web. Now, I am a ghost, wandering between the real and the digital world, carrying this warning to you. Do not let curiosity lead you to the end. Do not let the blue eyes see you. Episode 4. The boy kidnapped for hiring a hitman. The pain of a bullied boy. Am no longer human. I am a soul, a lost ghost, screaming in endless darkness. But before I became the missing one, I was just a 14-year-old boy, an ordinary student, brutally bullied at school. Each day was a battle, not with someone out there, but with the quiet fear buried inside. The curses, the endless punches and kicks, the looks of contempt that made me so small, no one wanted to see me. I tried to be tough. I tried to hold on to the last shred of pride. But the wounds weren't only on my skin. They were carved deep into my soul. That's why I turned to the dark web. I didn't know what else to do. I wanted revenge. I wanted them to know I wasn't an easy prey. I found a site that let you hire a hitman. A door opened for the desperate. Like me, I posted the order. I listed the names, the bullies, even the teacher I believed had abandoned me in those dark days. I didn't have much money, only a few coins. Not enough for the price the site demanded, but I thought they wouldn't know who I was. I thought I could hide in the shadows of the net, anonymous, safe. I was wrong. Swallowed by darkness, I thought I could control everything, hide inside the virtual dark. But in truth, that darkness was swallowing me. Not long after I placed the order, the signs began, strange messages from nowhere, weird sounds in my room, soft footsteps outside my door at midnight. I started to feel watched, but I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't want them to know what I had done. I feared the terrible truth. I had opened the door to hell myself. One night, while I tried to sleep, knocks came at the door, slow, steady, each beat pressing the presence of an uninvited shadow. I didn't dare open it. I curled under my blanket, my heart pounding like it would burst, breathing fast. The knocks grew faster, then silence. That silence terrified me even more. I heard footsteps leaving. Not a relief, a final warning. The next day, I found something gone. My small phone, the one I used to contact them, now lay on the table. The screen shattered. I knew this wasn't a game anymore. Another night, I was dragged from my bed by a freezing hand I couldn't fight. I tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the thick darkness. Shadows surrounded me, their faces hidden under black veils. No one I could see clearly. They dragged me through endless halls. Each footstep echoed in the cold, suffocating air. Pain spread through my body as I was tied to an old chair. Metal scraped against metal. Harsh breaths mixed with my muffled cries. They took parts of my body, cruel, bloody, each groan, each drop of blood falling onto the freezing floor. I screamed. I begged for help. No answer. Memories and lonely darkness in that dark, freezing space. Time stopped. Every minute was a chain of pain, physical and soul deep. I remembered every sound, metal clashing, the short breaths of the one hurting me, the steady rain on the rusted tin roof outside. Whenever my eyes closed, the bullies returned in my mind. not to pity me, but to keep pressing on my already broken soul. I felt loneliness to the bone, no one beside me, no familiar sound, only me and the dark. I once dreamed of a peaceful life, to laugh, to play, to live without fear. Now those dreams were only broken shards. At night, I heard echoes outside, footsteps, whispers, chilling laughter. I didn't know if they were real or born from my collapsing mind. Sometimes I ask myself, could I escape? Was anyone searching for me? Did anyone remember me? But the thick silence swallowed all hope. I became a shadow, not only torn apart in body, but dragged into the abyss of my soul. I tried again and again to scream, to call for help, but my cries only echoed into the void. No one answered. Each day I told myself to hold on to the last bit of strength, to live, to tell this story. And now, I am the soul telling this horror. A warning to anyone thinking of using the darkness of the underground for revenge. Between two worlds, I no longer know if I'm alive or dead. I am like a wandering ghost, floating between the world of the living and the dark world I once feared. Each night, I see myself at the window, looking out at the empty street where I once walked to school. The yellow glow from the street lamps, casting blurry streaks of light as if trying to pull me back from vanishing into nothingness. But I can't go home. I can't find peace. The whispers never stop in my head. Stories I can't forget. Screams drowned in darkness. Cold metal, cutting flesh. The drip of water like drops of blood on the cold ground. I have become part of the darkness. A small voice among countless souls trapped in the deadly web of the dark web. I know there are others like me, victims of mad revenge, prey left in the dark after using those black services. I call to you, students. The young never think. The dark web is an escape or a tool for revenge, because the price of curiosity, the price of revenge, is not only wounds on your flesh, it is your soul. My final warning, a scream echoing through the night. Do not step into the darkness if you don't want to lose everything. Before I disappeared completely, I saw a line appear faintly on the wall of the room where I was kept, written in blood, or in light, I don't know. P@YM3NT_1SNT_JUSTMON3Y. I didn't fully understand it, but I knew it would connect to other stories, other ghosts trapped in this deadly network. Episode 5. The Mysterious Chat Room of 1998. Stepping gay into a forgotten cyberspace. I am David, a ghost trapped between time and space. The story I am about to tell is not ordinary. It is a story of darkness, of cries for help, echoing in the virtual world, where a secret chat room from 1998 imprisoned the soul of a young girl. It all began when I was still a high school student, a curious young man, eager to explore the vast world beyond daily life. Back then, the internet was still strange to many people, and chat rooms were where we connected and talked with friends. One night, I received a mysterious invitation from a strange nickname, Ashu Navi Navi Oitu, with a message. Do you want to join a special chat room, a place where stories have never been told? Curious, I agreed. It was a small, minimal chat room, unlike public ones. No one knew who anyone was, only flashing lines of text, fake names, and secret stories shared in the dark. I remember clearly the first time she appeared, a nickname, Lily. She wrote with a weak tone, begging for help, full of pain. Lily told of a violent family. Her parents were drunkards who often beat her. Her stories were like the sighs of a tormented soul. Every day, I read her messages and tried to comfort her, but they were still just cold lines of text on a screen. Death and a dark secret. Days after Lily began telling her story, the air in the chat room grew heavier than ever. Her cries for help were not just words on a screen, they were silent screams, echoing between the virtual space and the real world. One night, Lily disappeared. The nickname Lily never came online again. Her last messages were desperate. "Help me. I'm scared." My father, everyone in the chat room, including me, felt a chilling dread we could not explain. No one knew what happened, but the feeling was like a ghost pressing down on my chest. A few days later, shocking news broke. Lily's father had fled town after police found her murdered at home. Initial reports said she died from a severe wound, but worse, on the family's computer, police found a file. It contained detailed information about every member of that chat room, nicknames, IP addresses, even personal data. I realized the chat room Lily and I had joined was not just a place to talk. It was a dangerous network, a trap designed to collect information about everyone inside. Darkness and crime had seeped into even the safest seeming connections. Every night, when I tried to forget everything, I saw Lily again, the girl with eyes full of despair, begging for rescue in the hopeless dark. Now, I can only bear witness to this tragic story, hoping to warn those who still wander into these shadowy corners of the web. A warning in the loop of darkness. David, remained trapped between two worlds, unable to live, unable to die. My spirit floats in a dark void. Memories of Lily in that chat room haunt every moment. I see every nickname, every faceless presence in that room. They could be the next victims, lost souls in this deadly network. That 1998 chat room was not just a place holding sad stories. It was a key link in a chain of horrific events I found in the leaked data. A strange code, a string identical to what I once saw in the Blue Eye messages and in the codes from Episode 2 and Episode 3. D3 at THCO D3 hash R3V3 4 lit was like a key, opening a dreadful secret, a force behind every ghost we had ever met. Some things should never be touched. Some secrets belong only to the dark. Before I vanished completely, I saw a faint line of text on the computer screen. The loop has not ended. Many more souls are still trapped, and I knew this story is not over. A loop of evil, a monstrous force is still waiting. Episode 6. The Deal on Silk Road. The adventure begins. I am Mike. I used to be an ordinary man, just like everyone else, until I stepped into the underground world of the dark web, a place where everything has a price, and the price is never cheap. It all began when I found Silk Road, a notorious black market, where people could buy and sell anything, from drugs to forbidden goods. I have always been curious, drawn to strange things, and Silk Road felt like a world of temptation I had never known. One night, I decided to buy a kind of hallucinogenic mushroom. It was advertised as a spiritual awakening. I hoped it would expand my mind, change my life. The deal was quick. I transferred the money through anonymous e-wallets and waited, but then I realized I had been scammed. The trap and the darkness. After I received the package, strange things began to happen. The mushrooms were nothing like I imagined. My dreams became twisted. Grotesque images crept into my mind, and the feeling of being watched grew stronger. Then one night, while I was high, I woke to heavy footsteps, echoing inside my apartment. Strangers appeared. They tied me up and took me away. I was kidnapped, dragged to a place I couldn't understand, where darkness and the sound of heavy breathing became my only companions. I thought it was the end, but then a trusted seller from Silk Road appeared, a shadowy figure, come to take revenge on the scammer. He didn't just save me, he restored my faith in the hidden rules of this underworld, that even in the dark, justice still exists in its own way. The rescue and the revenge. He appeared like a ghost, cold, decisive, powerful, no explanation, only action. He tore the kidnapping group apart. One by one, they were taken down, without mercy. I didn't understand why he cared about me, a newcomer to this world, But I realized, in the world of Silk Road, there are unspoken rules, ones only insiders truly know. After I was rescued, I got all my money back, a fair revenge for the scammer, but it was also a warning that even in darkness, there are those who guard the order, in their own way. I never learned the true identity of the trusted seller, but his appearance was a miracle in this dangerous world. There is hope, faint, but it exists. Even in the dark, the warning and the unfinished mystery, I sit here, typing these words in my small room, still feeling the cold breath of the darkness that once surrounded me. The dark web is no playground. It is a labyrinth, where every step could be your last. But there is something few people know. A hidden force is pulling the strings, behind murders, disappearances, and the darkest of deals. Before he left, the trusted seller sent me one final message. It contained a single cryptic code, NOT_4LL_1S_1T_SD_Kapulutiga. MSC. Hope my story serves as a warning. Do not let curiosity pull you into that darkness, because in this world, not everything can be explained by reason or money. Some things belong only to the shadows, and the shadows will never forgive. Episode 7, The Dark Loop, The Truth Behind the Veil. Darkness from the unseen realm. I don't know if you believe me, but the truth is, I'm writing these words from a place not meant for the living. I am a ghost, one of many souls, trapped inside a web of darkness, with no end. We, the ones who once lived, who once dreamed, who once longed for something, are now nothing more than screams, echoing in an endless void. Like many others, I was deceived, betrayed, imprisoned by forces unseen, forces you've never even imagined. I have heard, I have seen, I have felt something beyond explanation, a dark loop where death games, disappearances, and sinister stories on the dark web are all pieces of one giant trap. Let me tell you my story and the stories of other souls. Souls who once appeared in tales you may have heard. It began with the shadowed corners of the internet. A young man stumbling upon a death game, watching real footage of horrific murders. A group of high school students trying to hire a hitman through the dark web, only to be hunted by an anonymous hacker with the symbol of a blue eye. A girl who bought drugs online, but accidentally placed an order to hire a hitman to kill herself. Then, she was stalked and mentally tortured. A teenager kidnapped, his body destroyed, after hiring a killer to take revenge on his bully. A chat room in 1998, where a girl was murdered, and every member could be the next victim. A man who bought hallucinogenic mushrooms on Silk Road was tricked, abducted, and saved by a trusted seller in the underworld. But do you know the truth? Behind all those stories, there is something far more terrifying. A supernatural force, a cursed loop that imprisons our souls, turning every crime into a never-ending game. An entity, a mastermind, unseen, standing behind the black curtain, pulling the strings of evil, like puppets on a stage. The blue eye and the grotesque shadows. We were once human, but now, in the darkness, we are nothing but fragments of memory and whispers of agony, drifting through endless night. I still remember the first time I saw it. The blue eye. It didn't just watch me, it pierced into my soul. This was not a normal hacker. No, it was something else. A phantom eye, existing between layers of the web, slipping into every corner of your mind, stirring your deepest fears. Whenever we tried to escape, the blue eye would appear again, a reminder that there is no place to hide, no way out. I saw a boy, the one who hired a hitman for revenge. He was kidnapped. He suffered in ways words can't describe. His screams still echo in my mind, breaking apart, fading in the cold wind. The wounds on the body were nothing. The true horror was being turned into puppets in an eternal game where death is not the end, but the beginning of another cycle of torment. Lily, the girl from the 1998 chat room, she too could not escape. Her death was a stain, a warning that darkness is everywhere. And then, all of us, the ghosts from different tales, began to feel a faint connection between our tragedies, a loop spinning endlessly, forcing us back to the most painful moments, again and again. Night after night, I drifted between two worlds, hearing screams, sobs, and mad laughter, like demons playing with my soul. Then came the truth that crushed us, that force. It didn't just control life, it ruled over death. It trapped us inside a nightmare labyrinth without end. Imagine being locked in a room with no exit, watched by an invisible eye, and every time you think you've found a way out, you're pushed back to the very beginning. That is the hell we endure, the dark force and the endless loop. We tried to search for clues, fragments of memory, shattered like glass. One name burned into my mind, a scream in the abyss. The architect, the one behind everything, not just a killer, not just a hacker, not even a group of people, but a supernatural entity, a powerful phantom who built this death maze as a twisted game, a loop with no final act. Every murder, every chase, every death game on the dark web was not random. They were chapters in the architect's dark script. We, the trapped souls, were players, forced to relive pain and fear without end. The haunting noises, the screams in the dark, the cold, blue eyes, all part of the loop. Our panic was beyond anything imaginable. We knew there was no escape. We were locked in a spiritual labyrinth, controlled by an invisible hand. We tried to call for help, to fight for freedom, but every attempt was useless. The despair was a noose, tightening, choking the last breath of hope. And you, reading this now, you might already be inside the loop, without even knowing it. The architect is not just a name, it is the darkness inside you, the whisper when night falls, the cold when you feel most safe. And I, a soul in the dark, warn you, do not get caught in this death loop. Do not let those cold blue eyes find you. Do not search for what you cannot understand. Before I faded into the shadows, I saw words appear not on a computer screen, but inside my mind. Their underscore is underscore no underscore escape. There is no way out. If you have heard my story, leave a message, share, comment. Stay alert so I can keep telling you the dark secrets that we, the trapped souls, will never be free to forget.